Hello, everyone. My name is Rami Musa. I work as a journalist and political economy consultant for the European Union in Libya. I work on analyzing the conflict and how we anticipate uh, events and tension within the country between different groups and on a local level. So, from my side, and from covering this topic about managing the conflict and resolving the conflict by building trust and confidence among the groups. So I'll just go through how things in theory work and how they were implemented in Libya and why they failed. Just giving you examples and thoughtful ideas about why would it work in several in some contexts and not others. So in Libya's case, I won't jump to conclusion, but I'll just go through the what we have uh, seen before. So there was the political agreement in 2015. The different intellectual and opposition met in Morocco, or their representative met in Morocco to discuss how they can join efforts and work together, even though there was a civil war happening in some parts in the country. But they sat down and discussed how they can build or join a government. And the idea was that it's not just about sharing power. There has to be some confidence building measures. And this is the main block. So this is where everybody should focus on how to build this confidence measures and how can they cooperate. Because the problem is that both sides or some other sides as well, not just the problem is that we don't just have two oppositions, we have so many different groups. So we had militias, we had political groups, we had even radical groups as well. We had tribal elements, we had former regime, we also had international regional influence as well. So people who actually represented foreign powers in Libya. So bring all these together on one table, and they could agree on how to share power because they could just build a body similar to the one we have now, the General National Code, which is the each party could have one representative. Then we end up with 9 members, naming it the Presidential Council. So from the perspective of building a government sharing power, it was easy to do, but do they really work together? That proven to be a failure, and that's why we have a crippled government in Tripoli, and then we had a bigger war happening after it because one side controlled the resources, the others wanted to jump back or gain some of these resources for themselves. So when it comes to building trust within a conflict, it's very difficult because there's blood, there is distrust, there is no openness about what each side wants. So first, we will need to express our desire to actually communicate. So for both sides or for the many sides, they need to express that they are willing to come together and speak, because now we're even finding it difficult to bring everybody on one table. Doesn't matter what the outcome is, but we just need them to express what they really want, or at least indicate that they wish for a resolution, a peaceful one or political. So this is the first one. So having everybody willing and communicating, because the problem is that we have one side could have, this is what happened a week ago. Both sides or two sides, because we can't just say both because they're not just one, two sides. Two of the main came out with a statement saying we wish for a political agreement to resume, but others were, bashing these efforts on media, on social media, and this is not helpful because we want everybody to express their willingness to participate. Even some sides will just stay quiet. This is not helpful, but it's better than actually having destructive comments and you know uh, giving hope and allowing some space for negotiation to happen. So this creates some sort of culture for trust, and it helps people uh, discuss what they wish uh, to to wish to happen. But the problem is that some sides will not express their views openly, and they will just express the views that they share on the media, where their supporters uh, thrive on. So, for example, the military, the army, the LNA in the east will emphasize that they want to disarm militias, but they never express their motive that they want to be in control of the army. They will try every way to do this, but without saying it directly. So they will hinder any effort that goes against this wish, but they will not express it. If they are open about it, there could be some agreement, uh, put in place. But both sides will never express their views or their real, not feelings, but desires. This is because they feel vulnerable, and they will be viewed in media or the opposition media as opportunists or in it for the benefit, not in it for the state. Some will just shout slogans, shout fancy ideas that they are here to help the country, liberate the country, and so on. So it's quite problematic when people are not honest, especially if this happens once and the trust is broken, similar to what happened in Libya, because the UN managed to agree, have a date to agree on everybody come together. The next day, there was a war broke out in Tripoli. So now trust is very difficult to amend this, because both sides will perhaps come to sit on the table to talk, but they will have other plans as well. So they could be shaking hands with the right hand and stabbing each other in the back with their left. So it's quite challenging. But for general ideas in theory, both sides or all sides have to show the willingness. All sides have to express their desire and provide development opportunities. For example, work together on building a common goal, perhaps building a government, a plan for the government to execute. This actually took shape. The UN put together what we call the confidence building measure, but both sides, one side signed, the other didn't, because some of these confidence building measures work against them, because it includes disarming groups or even handing over some of the power and leverage they have controlled over the years. So it's very difficult because some sides will pretend to join, but they're not fully willing, because there has to be some compromise. But some groups will pretend to compromise just to gain more leverage. Then they will back off once they captured what they want. So it's very tricky to actually pin down any of the groups and what they have promised. And this we have seen very often. And one main reason is the media influence and the foreign influence. So if we manage to fix or prevent the foreign influence from influencing and dismantling these efforts in on the local on the ground, then we can actually have something implementable. We can have something concrete that we can get everybody around, even though it might take a long time, but at least they can find common grounds. But for foreign intervention is not an ideal solution to share power, and this is usually what's causing Libya not to move forward. Secondly, it's the local media, and the media is just inciting violence and hate, and they thrive on that. Some of these media outlets are funded by foreign groups, and others are funded by local businessmen or politicians who have invested uh, uh, interest in not ending the conflict. So they would do whatever is in their power to incite hate and try to divide the country or the groups in whichever way they can. So these are what I think should happen: confidence building measures, willingness of the different group, expressing desires, and having the media be quiet or at least support these efforts. Thank you.